Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to get down to the bottom line in terms of what has happened in Bangladesh and what I think is the underlying reason. And I don't think it's dissimilar to what I've seen in Pakistan. In Pakistan, you have the Deobandi schools, and out of these particular 600 that we're most concerned about are graduated young men who believe in a jihadi philosophy. Now, they are able, because of their use of tactics of terror, to then move against a domestic population that maybe does not share their same views. And they usually target their wrath against, well, in Pakistan, it was Hindus and Christians and others. In Bangladesh today, if we go back to 1947, and we know a lot of this happened at the outset, but you have a total of 49 million Hindus missing from the rolls. Many of them, of course, went to India. But recently we have a situation where you've got 1,500 Hindu homes, 50 Hindu temples burned to the ground. And it's not just Hindus. It is also Christians. It is also atheists. It is also animists. It is those who do not take the most fundamentalist viewpoint. Now, that's not most people in Bangladesh. It's a small percentage of the population, but it is that population that has been radicalized and has not been given an education, a wider, broader education. Indeed, the books that they study in are not even in the Bengal language. They're not even in the Bangladeshi tongue. They're studying something that they don't even understand. They don't know Arabic. So when they graduate, they don't know anything except what they've been brainwashed to believe, which is it's their mission to go out and try to force conversions. And they do that by oftentimes kidnapping girls or kidnapping women. They do that also by sowing terror. And we have a situation also where local police sometimes blame the Hindu population. Despite what I've just described to you, all of that destruction, when that last came up, a mob of thousands descended on the Capitol, as you know, thousands of radicals, demanding a change in the Constitution, demanding that basically their views supersede the views of the wider community. But some police said, well, you know, we have a situation where the Hindus created some of the violence because they originally interfered with the construction of a mosque. Now, unless the state in Bangladesh is ready to come forward and close these particular Deobandi schools, the ones that have been identified as the most radical, the ones that are telling their charges, their graduates, to go out and commit this kind of violence, Pakistan, like Bangladesh, are going down roads here where the consequences will eventually engulf the state itself. You can see what's happening over in Pakistan when you don't confront it. And many, many times we have raised this with officials inside Pakistan because we've seen the results. It's the same schools, right? It's the same movement. It's the same tactics. The results are going to be the same. You have a continued effective removal of people who do not adhere to the views of the radicals. So just a quick response, if you will. Do you think my judgment is correct here? Is this the wider, deeper problem?
The schools that you are referring to, Congressman, the Deobandi schools, there is a large number of them. Of course, this issue has been addressed in some ways, but not necessarily as robustly as it should be. There should be reform on the education sector, and more importantly, these are the schools which are, these madrasas which are producing youth who are not exactly be able to participate in the economic activities. So there need to be a reform. But at this point, I would say this is a small number, and whether Bangladesh should travel the path Pakistan has already traveled depends on the political will and overall political circumstances as well. And that is where I see this instability in Bangladesh is contributing to this kind of situation. That's
Well,
why
you're down to a Hindu population that's now at 8.5%.
absolutely.
And on an ongoing basis, we see the flight of minority populations. So the government is not doing enough to protect them. And part of that protection is to do something about these schools.
I completely agree with you, Congressman. I mean, there has been structural issues. The Bangladeshi population, if we look into, as I have done from 1951, it has been, the dwindling population, which I call the missing millions. And the state has never done what they should be doing. I mean, irrespective of the political parties in power, the Bangladeshi state has failed to protect its minority. Not only the Hindus, we have seen this situation in the Buddhist population lately,
Right.
in the Ramu, what we have seen. This is absolutely a terrible situation that we are witnessing. Unless the state step up and protect this one, and that is why when Congresswoman asked about the issue of the post-election violence, these are the most vulnerable population that we see. I mean, they become the first target of this kind of situation. So not only in the context of the election, overall, these are the issues that need to be addressed. And we need, I would urge the international community to work closely with not only the Bangladesh government, but the civil society to make sure that these things are not repeated. We have seen it enough. And at some point, Bangladeshis and its partners and its well-wishers should stand up and say, enough is enough. And this is the time we should say, enough is enough.
Thank you, Doctor. I appreciate it.
The gentleman's time has expired.